we're heading towards Hamilton. We've been on an expressway. It's one of the few roads in New Zealand which is at 110 k's. Looks like now we're coming to an end on that, reducing back down to 100k. So it's part of what they call the Waikato Expressway, which after we leave Hamilton, it will connect to the expressway that takes us straight into Auckland. So this is a 4-lane road, which is a bit of a big deal for us. We haven't got a lot of these. We're getting them from the Wellington end and from the Auckland end, Hamilton and north of Auckland. And I'd say in the years to come we should have some 4-lane highway pretty much down the length of the country in some places, which would be fantastic. Construction here, which looks like it's coming on stream nicely. A bit sketchy with the lane changes there. I would have thought they would have had some cones and things there, but no. Don't know what this guy in front of us is doing. He seems to be all over the road. The weather is magic today. It's been very nice weather. We're still about 22 degrees Celsius. It's the late afternoon. Clouds are a little bit patchy now, where they were a little bit more blanket than before in the day. This is coming on pretty well. I'd say in the next couple of years we'll have this running quite nicely as an expressway through to picking up the northern side of Hamilton, where it just goes 4 lanes all the way through to Auckland, and out of Auckland up towards Silverdale, which they're working on now to get from Silverdale up to Warkworth and Wellsford, which will really open up the northern side of Auckland City big time. And I think the real estate will start to really go high because the commuting time will be reduced a lot. There's a Rolls Royce up here on top of that stand. Don't know if you can see it there. It's been there for so long that it's covered in lichen and moss. It's been there for like, oh gosh, 30 years or more. It's been there. It's been there for ages and ages. When it was first put up, it was a bit of a talking point because, you know, Rolls Royces were still reasonably okay at that model, but it's probably just a piece of junk now. Junk art, probably, eh? Yeah, so we're entering into the city of Hamilton now. Hamilton's a pretty big place, but it is inland. It has a university, so it's a university city. My middle daughter has done quite a lot of study at this university, different times. In fact, she's going to probably be studying there again later on this year. This is where things get a bit messy as it gets into the city. They haven't really managed to keep the flow going through the city north, whereas Auckland, once you're on the motorway, you just go straight past the city and over the bridge and carry on north. You can basically go straight through Auckland without stopping. Here we've got some issues with slower traffic and slower roads, so they're going to have to put some big some big overhead systems here sometime if they want to bypass Hamilton. It may be that they don't want to. So the highway we're on is called Highway 1, which is our main highway for New Zealand. I believe it actually runs Highway 1 down the South Island as well. It's quite a few years since I've driven down there. Pretty sure it's Highway 1 straight down through the South Island as well. Yeah, actually I'm pretty sure that's the case. But it's our main road, our highway number 1, if you like. It's not a freeway, just a highway. We don't really have freeways as such. We have motorways, expressways, but not really full-scale freeways like they have in some countries. But we've got to keep in mind that we're only about 5 million people in a fairly big land area, so we're just a reasonable sized city for some countries in the world. So I think when you look at it in that way, for the amount of taxes we pay, we've actually got a pretty decent infrastructure system, really. I think we have anyway, from what I've seen around the place. I think it's pretty decent. Sort of see what they're trying to do here, and they're working on it, but it's just going to take a bit longer, and we'll be able to have a fairly free run through to the motorway which leads to Auckland. We'll leave the camera running for a little while because it's a good way to record this, which will one day be tidied up and be the main road north. So we could come onto this road from Wellington. We could come all the way up from Wellington, which is our capital, down in the southernmost part of the North Island, and end up on this same road, which is number 1, heading right up to Auckland. You can do that trip in about 7 to 8 hours if you get into it, from Auckland to Wellington. I've done that a few times. It's a fairly solid day's driving. I'm going to stick in this lane, which is number 1, and just see how it takes us now through the city. Last time I came through here, it just got a bit sketchy here and there, where it almost disappeared, and you had to look really hard to make sure you stayed on it and not get tangled up in these city streets. That's a helicopter going over top of us. This bridge is going over the Waikato River again. We go over the Waikato backwards and forwards. This is the one which left Lake Taupo, which has the power stations on it. It goes all the way out to the sea at a place called Port Waikato. Oh, I can see the helicopter there now. It's probably going to the hospital. We actually go past the hospital. So this is not too bad. It's fairly continuous. We're going to do a left-hand turn up here soon, which will take us through to the expressway. So they've done a fairly good job of it. We've had to reduce speed down to normal town driving, but it's fairly continuous. Got a little pause here. It's only a give way though, but if the lights are okay, we can sneak around like that. So that wasn't too bad. And get in the right hand lane here, and that takes us through still onto number 1, which is where we're heading to, which is Auckland. If we went on to 3, that takes you down to Taranaki, which is where I come from, which we often take that road down to Plymouth. See, here would be nice if they didn't have the lights, if we could somehow sweep through here, and that would then make it more continuous. Because remembering, this is our main highway. Having traffic lights on is a little bit crazy, but it's just so expensive, I guess, to dig underneath or to go overhead. There'll be places where they're just not going to be able to do it. So this big truck ahead of us, that would have come up from Wellington, I would imagine, heading to Auckland. This is the only way they go. Okay, well that wasn't too much of a wait, but it was still an interruption to our flow, and we might not get through these lights. These lights might not be that... These guys are going so damn slow, I can't believe it. My goodness me, what's going on there? Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, so here it gets a bit sketchy, just in someone's street almost, but this is still number one. And then we go through another set of lights up here. Waikato Hospital's over there to the right. It's a very big heart hospital here for the North Island. So here we go straight through these lights, and that's on number one. So you sort of got to keep your eyes open a little bit, otherwise you can get a bit unstuck. At least it's 2 lanes going straight here, which is okay. That truck's going to be in the left-hand lane. I'm not too sure how long it would take them. I guess it would take them close to 10 hours from Wellington to Auckland, because they pretty much will keep going all day. Something that I'm not totally up with. You get an idea of the structure. They sort of have a shortest trailer, and then it's towing a longer trailer. It's articulated both parts. I think backing it would be a major pain, to be honest. Wouldn't want to be reversing it, that's for sure. I think you got to do like a double reverse, you know, like you got to turn the wheel the opposite way that you want it to go, plus opposite again. So you probably turn your wheel the way you want to go, and that causes the rear trailer to go the way you want it to go. I don't know. I bet they have some fun learning to drive those things when it comes to reversing them down narrow you know, areas where they got to get rid of their loads. So this here is still Highway 1, and they really need to be working on this. There should be double lane through here as well. Or they need a real good bypass around all of this. So once they get this part here sorted in Hamilton, we'll be looking fairly good. Okay, well there's a bit of a view of what it's like as you come into Hamilton City. It's just like this for quite a while before we leave Hamilton. So thank you for taking time out to look at this video, and it's given you a little bit of a view of how things are in this part of North Island. The weather today is just fantastic. Quite a bit of blue sky, that's for sure. Probably more blue sky than cloud right now. And I'll catch you a little bit later on. I'll probably run the video as we get into Auckland, closer into the Auckland city. Thank you.